to present with us. Do I have a approval or a motion to approve? So moved.
Good evening, everyone. So, back in February, Superintendent Robert Moody and Assistant Superintendent David Mason reached out to Sheriff Thompson and I, wanting to revisit the SRO structure for Graham County Schools. The last 20 years, they've operated under a company police agency, which was their own agency with limited jurisdiction and not a whole lot of supplies to function as their own agency. So we sat down, we discussed the issue a couple different times. Everybody got on board, met with the school board back in March. So the agreement in March was to keep the SROs under the school, but disband the police agency. Bring them under the sheriff's jurisdiction. They stay as school employees, making the same salaries that they made. But if they elected to leave, then we would look at the idea of actually hiring them as county employees and letting the school system reimburse salaries and all benefits. So that's kind of why I'm here today. Unfortunately, the two that were there decided to go other places. SRO Knight's retiring and SRO Reap's already left. So in front of you is kind of a proposed MOU. This is a rough draft. It's kind of going over some of the details. They've agreed to reimburse all salaries and benefits package. They've agreed to turn over all their equipment and vehicles to the Graham County Sheriff's Office. Anything to do with their school police agency now comes to Graham County Sheriff's Office. I'm just here to get y'all on board with this switch. See if we have any issues with the reimbursement. Like I said, this draft is just a rough draft. It's not finalized. It's just something to look over. I've talked to County Manager Cody. We're still kind of going over the ins and outs of everything, and then we'll let our Sheriff's Office attorney and school attorney also look at it before anything's signed and finalized. I don't know if y'all have any questions for us, but technically it would be giving us 2 more employees, but we'd be getting reimbursed for all the cost. I think it would come out to a total of $143,600 they would reimburse. And we'd probably do that monthly if that was okay. I've talked to Stacy a little bit, and I think that's probably be the best, would be a reimbursement monthly. But there's lots of ins and outs in this MOU, setting up the hours. They would not be paid overtime. It would be straight comp time for high school events, sporting events, stuff like that. It would be straight comp time. Setting up a couple different things in the MOU. That is coming from the audit to get the approval to make this happen. Superintendent Moody and Assistant Superintendent Mason's on board and think this is the best interest in Graham County Schools. They've reached out to us. Some of the things it makes better is it streamlines communication. It makes things easier for us. It keeps us in the loop of what's going on in Graham County Schools. We'll be able to provide reporting software. They'll be able to do reports. We could get reports at the office and see what's going on in our school system and make it a better environment for our kids. Superintendent Moody just walked in, but I was kind of going over everything with him. Gives them available resources that they don't have with their police agency. It expands their jurisdiction. They go out and do home visits in the county. They have jurisdiction. There's no issues, no liability. A couple other things, like company police is so restricted. we feel like this is the best move going forward.
So what's your plan moving forward since the two present SROs have resigned or retiring? What's your plan for recruitment?
I already have two in place. Got them signed up to go to school in June, and the school has agreed to send them to the SRO conference every summer and pay out of their pocket to send them. We've already got that lined up and ready to go. So we're moving forward. We've got everything ready to go. We're just coming to y'all to get the approval to get it going.
And then just because I know the public would want to know, these individuals that you have chosen, they have experience?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, one of them's currently 12 to 14 years. The other one's 6+. One of them has been filling in at the elementary school the last 2 months, month and a half. And Superintendent Moody will tell you, he has been doing a good job. This is something he wants to do, and he has a lot of interest going forward. The one going to the high school is about a 12 to 14 year veteran.
So I do think ultimately the decision was between the school and the sheriff's office. I guess financially, Stacy, do you see any issues that would arise?
We looked through his numbers earlier, and Kim and Brady, our county manager, also reviewed it, and we've looked at like where it falls in the pay plan and all of that. Everything lines up. We checked, the retirement rates and insurance, and I think we'll renegotiate this on a yearly basis so that we'll have time to, adjust those rates should they change on a yearly basis. Because we know this cost continue to increase.
I think that's best, and we've discussed that, to revisit every year, and this review every year. I do think this is the best going forward for us, our sheriff's office and Graham County Schools.
So, from my understanding, like I said, the decision, has been made between the school and the sheriff's office. So, there's nothing actually that we need to approve other than the MOU. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding. I think it'll take some time just to maybe by the next board meeting have it finalized if that's what the board wants to do. Just that way.
I guess the way, like you can see, is we're technically adding 2 employees. So I guess we would need the board's approval on that, but it's costing us nothing because the school's reimbursing everything.
There wouldn't be any kind of change in liability or anything like that by...
No, not for us. No. It takes less liability off of them, but we've got liability every time we step out of the vehicle. So it's no more for us and it's less on the school.
There will be just a couple of minor, they will go on our liability insurance. So there will be some kind of, more indirect costs that aren't necessarily reimbursed out, and then I think we're taking on the fuel costs.
Yes.
Of the cars, but not
nothing.
The bulk of it is.
It's not nothing that I've not already budgeted for. It will blow us out of budget for what we propose this year. I think, like uniforms, stuff like we've got enough in our budget to add to additional. It's no big cost for us. And at the school, and we can still negotiate the fuel stuff. I mean, that's up for negotiation. I think it's best for us.
Still with supplying the vehicles.
Yeah. And the schools, like I said, they're willing to turn the 2 vehicles over to the county and all their equipment.
How will that work when it's time to replenish the vehicles? Will
That's
it be replenished with the county fleet, or will the school ever so often cycle those out?
That's probably something going forward I don't have an answer for. The 2 vehicles that the school has right now is giving us at least another 5 to 6 years. One's brand new, correct? Yeah. And the other one still has another 5 to 6 years in it because there's not a lot of wear and tear on vehicles for SROs because it's going to school and back. And the 2 that's got selected live right here in town, so the mileage is not going to go high. So, but that replacement of vehicles would definitely be something down the road we'd have to look at. But with our enterprise fleet, that's not a huge issue. But I don't think that would be something we'd have to worry about for at least the next 5 to 6 years. The handguns, all the rifles, the school, they're willing to turn everything over to us, the ammo they have. Like we've sat down 3 or 4 times now and made sure we're trying to get everything in place to make it better for both.
So any other questions for Cody? So I guess you would just make sure that we have this MOU, ready for approval.
Yes, and I'll get up with the county manager and, our attorney also, and the school attorney, and we'll get everything the way. I said, this is a rough draft, just to give an idea of what we're looking at. But we'll get everything finalized before the next meeting.
And Robert, do you want to say anything else?
Unless y'all have any questions, we're excited about partnering with the sheriff's office. They're already helping us out with one of ours leaving. Again, like you said, being under the county's jurisdiction is a whole lot better than the jurisdiction we have now. And of course, the liability is better communication. So all the way around, I think it's good. It's going to save the school money too, which that's a big plus now since we've lost $500,000 since last year with the rural funding and with timber receipts. So that helps. But most of all, I do think it's the best way moving forward to keep our kids safe. So.
Thank you.
Anything else on the workshop?
Unless, the only thing would be unless the board wants to have a discussion about the status, to provide some more information on the status of the audit, before we speak, we hear from Mr. Hill in the regular meeting, but otherwise, yeah, that way we can answer questions the best we can, at least from what we've been told so far.
So, would you be able to fill out the audit
Yeah.
that you were saying?
Sure. I'm happy to provide what we know, what we have so far is a revised timeline for the presentation of the audit. Mr. Hill had indicated that there was some final documentation he's requesting. Didn't think it's anything of much substance that would change any numbers, but he just one of those he wants to make sure. So the new timeline is, or the new presentation date is the first week of June. At any, at a point where the board can reconvene for a public hearing. Our suggested date was Tuesday, June 3rd at 5:30. If that's something that, if the board is available that day, and then the goal would be to continue the regular meeting to that date and time in order to allow for the presentation.
Except for revised date. How many revised days have we had?
To be fair, they must goes to us mostly. Or, to be fair, most of this goes to us.
Goes to,
So, not this way.
do you have any idea? Or if,
We've had several amendments, but I mean, the last agreed upon date was, it was supposed to be filed on the 30th of April. And that was the last verbal agreement that they had given us, it was supposed to be filed on April 30th.
wasn't there a 15th before that? Yes.
I think so.
I don't really know how many, but it's concerning to me. That they're having so much difficulty getting what they need together to ask us for.
And I will say, just to give kind of context of what the finance office has been experiencing, they've been very responsive to every request, the last few weeks especially. It's always a same day reply from the finance office. And Stacy's having to build some reports and spend a lot of time aggregating data. So from the county perspective, she's doing all she can to provide this information as soon as the requests are put in.
To answer your question, I will do anything I can to make any meeting that we have it move forward.
I think that day will work. And so this one, we'll make sure that we advertise in the public, because I know that's very interesting. Anything else before we adjourn? We will call this Graham County Board of Commissioners meeting for May 20th, 2005 to order. Members of the County Board of Commissioners are advised hereby of their duty under the State Government Ethics Act to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of such conflict if further are instructed by participating in any matter coming before this Board of Commissioners with respect to which there is a conflict of interest or appearance of such conflict. We will have Mr. Gordon.
Let's pray. Good day, Heavenly Father. Let's thank you for this glorious day that you've given us. So, Father, we just ask that you just continue just to be with us and just watch over us. And Father, just give us the knowledge and the patience and the understanding that we need. And Father, we just ask that you just let us do the best for our county and for our people. Father, most of all, we just ask that we just lift up those who are sick and ill, and we just ask that you continue just to touch and heal their bodies. And Father, we just thank you for everything that you do, your blessings and your gifts and opportunities allow us to have. And we're just so thankful for everything that you do. And Father, in all those things we ask in you, in your precious and holy name, Jesus Christ with the Christ.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any changes to each?
We do have a couple of additions. So under 10, it would be letter M, the proposed Mountain West Partnership letter of support. So that is laid with you all in the packets. And then a discussion of the workers' comp and liability insurance as well.
Do you have a motion to approve the agenda with the changes? So. And I have a motion to approve minutes for the workshop session 1, special meeting 11, workshop and regular 318, budget 325, special budget 42, budget 48, workshop regular 415.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? Okay, and Mr. Hill, you're up.
First, I want to thank everybody, and we are just want to go ahead and one of the main things that I also want to give us a little shout out to Stacy and her team. And we've been working very closely with the partnership we've got with them, and they've got we've been asking for a lot of data. We've got the financial statement very much been under review right now. We can also change the model, looking really good. But great job. We certainly appreciate the partnership there. Also, I want to give a call out to Beverly, Paula. They've been great also working with us. Working with Stacy, they've been very good, and we do it as well. We've had obviously a team effort, but it's where we're at, and all done a really great job. Anyway, we are, like I think, very close. We should be getting into the check financial statements very to you guys very soon. And that's the good news. Okay. We do have a couple of things we just want to talk about. We will be going to take that kind of the bad news part of it. We will be having a material meeting for the financial statement closing process. And we will have a significant deficiency from the assessment that they or whatever. But that, we'll have what we call clean opinion that the financial statements are they are materially correct, and such that they look good. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Does the board have any questions?
Mr. Hill, Mr. Larry Tony, this question on some corrective action plans that you suggested in the topic corrective action plans and current process.
Yeah, actually, on the clothing, and actually, we've been working with Becky on that. She, she did look down a couple of people on her staff. She's now on the lead fully staff. Office has got a much better process. But I believe she has a correct production plan under that. And then also, I think I can keep this to the rest of the adjustments to remain. Again, it has to do with that she does not fully staff, what have you. She's also going to be going to some classes to get staffed up as well as that. So that would be basically the corrective action is basically already been done.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Carlin. We look forward to seeing that.
Well, yep, and my understanding is that I will be up there, I believe, on June 3rd. Is that my understanding?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I will be there in person on June 3rd at 5:30 to present the financial statements to you and make sure you're able to do that.
Okay, are you going to send out a draft prior to that?
Oh, absolutely, sir. Yes.
I believe we agreed on the 30th.
We agreed on the 30th, and I'll go ahead and give you, we're planning on getting that to you, getting it to you a little before that, at 5:30, at the latest 5:30, but we'll have something before that.
You said financial statements, but what about the audit itself?
But I think financial statements, I mean financial statements, financial opinion, everything.
Okay.
It's one thing, yeah, 100 and some pages, but yeah, everything.
Okay.
So this will be 23 completed and we'll move on to those. Okay. So any other questions for Mr. Jacob?
In person.
Lynn will have some questions for you next time.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Thank you so much. We'll see you then.
Okay, none of it, I'm there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.
And then do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Or anybody, would anybody like to speak for the public? We'll turn it over to Mr. Marino, project manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate it. We should have a project manager's report there in front of you. I'll go down some of the items, also provided slides, some PowerPoint presentation. That's going to go over, it'll be part of items 4, 5, 7. So I'll jump through the ones that aren't part of a slide first. Obviously, number 1, commissioners are still working on a site for Justice Center. Number 2, again, is a financial year 25-26 item budget that we're working with the finance office on and the sheriff's office. Number 3, again, no change with that one. That's the paving. We're still looking for grant funds to finish that project for the EMS. If you look again, jumping over items 4 and 5, we'll go over the grant houses that we're building on 2, 3, and 66 acres. We'll cover some items and have some pictures of where we're at with the status. Jumping down to item 6. This is the house over on Azalea Hills. We're still working through documents with Southwest Commission and Haywood County. We are meeting tomorrow afternoon at 4. So hopefully, Attorney Talon will have some more information for us. He's been talking to the other attorneys, so we're hoping we have some way forward with that. I'm also in communication with Ms. Lene Schuler with Southwest Commission. There's some other items that she's asking for. We'll talk through that with the RDA tomorrow on some more stuff I'll have to do. Provide them with, like the budget for the construction. It really should come from probably the school because they're doing it, but I don't mind to work on it because it's something we did for our other projects. But we'll go over it tomorrow with the architect. And then item 7, which will be a part of the slides, I'll just cover it real quick. We did a second set of steps at Santina Cemetery, and we did complete that. That was completed with the forms removed on May the 9th. The cemetery department was very pleased. We'll show some pictures here shortly. Then in project development, as you know, Madam Chair, we went out Monday, yesterday, and actually Friday, and then Monday I was out with Gavin yesterday. Obviously, A is the building we talked about. We're still looking at trying to get some money for a metal building that really is needed out at the site, and we're able to look at some of that. But also the dumpsters, the convenience site dumpsters. They bring some ABC stone out there that helps tremendously. There's still a little bit of work as I was out there yesterday, and I talked to Gavin about completing some more of that over there and filling in a couple holes, but it's a huge improvement on what it was from the rains last week. Did some preliminary run numbers that I've provided on item number 9, if we were to do concrete and asphalt, and pretty much the number is not a whole lot different. When you think about asphalt, you don't get the long range use out of it. You're always having to either mill it and then repave or tear it up. And in this case, almost everything over there has to be torn up and repaved. Largely, that's the reason why the costs are close, right? Because when you're asphalting, you have to deploy a huge mobilization cost on the front end for a smaller project, whereas you can kind of eat that on a larger project. So just to mobilize out to redo it on the pavement, asphalt, hot mix, we need 90,000, 90 somewhere around there. It's about 150 ton of hot mix that we have to re-asphalt it. If we went to concrete, which is what I recommend, there's about 170 yards of concrete, and that's around $100,000 for that, 95 and 100 if we were to completely redo that whole site. The good thing is, I think we would be, either way we did it, we'd have to do some gravity drainage, because none of this includes any kind of engineering or site work other than doing the foundation site work. It doesn't include drainage, structures, piping, and that sort of thing. So those are some really preliminary numbers. Again, I just out there yesterday and did some measuring with Gavin and went over the project with him. So this gives us an idea of maybe how we want to put together some ideas and move forward in the budget for next year as far as those sites. And also give us an opportunity to see how well the ABC is going to hold it up over the next few weeks before we start into the new budget year for 2025.
I do have one question.
Sure.
So with the site work, I know that they do have some equipment. They may have workers that may be skilled or not so skilled in that area. And that may have talked about it. Do you feel like that site, some of the site work is able to be done by that department, or do they need to hire someone?
No, I think absolutely we want to rely some on them, just like we did with the ABC. They have the equipment that can take up all the old, will save some money by taking up the old asphalt, digging it in, and then, of course, probably whoever we get to hire that would need to do the prep part, bringing the base and bring up lifts, compacting, and so forth. But we could definitely do everything possible we can locally with our guys over there at the site. We do have equipment to handle that. Yeah, absolutely. If there's no questions on some of those other projects, we'll turn to the slide and we'll go over some of the projects status as we go forward. This is very similar to the CDBG, the state grant funded projects. However, this isn't state funds, this is fully grant funded by the Dollar Health Trust. So this is the program that we're working towards, doing these other 2 houses and putting them in place. What we'll go over is we'll do a little bit of the introduction. This is our agenda. Kind of talk about, so that the public also is aware how we're handling these, and try to stay in those requirements that the state requires us to do when we do the whole project from start to finish. We'll go over I'll have some pictures for 243 Orb Ranch Road. No pictures for 66 Atoa yet. But that's coming. They just got through with clearing the house up this past weekend. And I'll go a little bit of updates with it. It's 3 this year. I was able to talk to Jerry this afternoon, so I have a little bit of an update. And then again, I wanted to go over the cemetery department. Over the last, I'd say probably 4 years, we've obviously didn't take that long, but when they've had the money to do projects for the cemeteries, we've been able to put in handrails and mostly concrete steps with handrails. So I want to be able to show that towards the end of this slideshow to give the commissioners an idea of those projects that we've already done, completed, and what we've done up until to this point, and then probably move on from there. So again, a little bit of the introduction. This is very similar to CDG. It's the program is developed for obviously urban communities, a suitable environment, expand economic opportunities, principally for persons of low and moderate income, based off that Housing Act of 1974. And the ones that we've got under contract, and I'll show you, are 243 Ore Branch and 66 in total. A little orientation for where this is off Ore Branch on Sweetwater. Some before and after. Left is the front portion of the home, the mobile home, and the right side would be the back photo from the back, existing additions. And then a couple of pictures of the demolition. Once we were able to start going, the home was cleared. We were able to separate all the materials out, obviously, from what we could get rid of on site, and then what needed to go out to the sanitation and recycle center. And where we kind of stand now on the right, actually that's an outdated photo. As you can see, reinforced and inspected footers on the left, approved to place concrete, and then the concrete footers completed on the right. And only by about 2 days, that photo on the right is not complete. The blocks are actually sitting on site, and we're expecting, it really depends on the rain tonight. It's supposed to move in some storms tonight and tomorrow morning, but we're supposed to start blocks this week. Could be later in the week, or it could be tomorrow, depending on how bad the weather. So the blocks start being laid. Obviously, I'll have a little bit more update for the next meeting. Made good progress on this project so far already. Looking forward to starting 66 Atilla. Now on 66 Atilla, just a real quick update on it. And I got this from, I haven't had a chance to email you, but to be able to start the actual demo, we got to get rid of the hazard materials, get rid of the asbestos. And they're hoping to get that scheduled. You can work us in. It's possible to be here towards the end of the week if not, we're looking at the first week. So once the asbestos is removed, tag, label, and they get the clearance forms and everything, then the house will come down and we'll be back into the same status of this one, and probably have more of that over for next month. If there's no questions on those, I'll give a status towards the end of the, or at the end of the slide. If there's no questions on the two houses, real quick, I'll show you some of the completion of the concrete steps. On the left, this is Old Mother Church. We started the Old Mother Church project actually with a ramp and a set of steps. The set of steps was massive to try to get up from that. When you first drive up to that higher layer, and it was not a lot of room. So we were talking about a metal frame, and it was going to be really expensive.
The caskets can honestly too close to the window.
Yeah,
The way that he.
that's true. Yeah.
As far as any kind of steps there.
Yeah.
And I know you looked at every time the step there was to look
We did.
for, and nothing.
Unfortunately. But this is very handy for several reasons. Carrying things, people being able to walk, and also getting, we made it thick enough where equipment can use it to get onto the side, lawnmower and backhoe. So nice piece of concrete and the handrails, really sturdy handrails. The Old Mother Church and all that. Set of stairs on the right is for Lower Sawyer Street. And that is huge for that lower area. There was no other way to get up to that side of that cemetery. really made things a lot easier for people to be able to get up. And I'm impressed. These are the two oldest of the ones that we did, and those handrails do not even move when you go over there and shake off. They're just really sturdy. So did a good job with it. This was on the left is the first set of steps, the upper part of the Santiago Cemetery that we put in with handrails again, very sturdy. On the right, this is actually I know when you first come on Yellow Creek, you come to, when it opens up, you come to Lower Yellow Creek Cemetery. This is the upper Yellow Creek Cemetery above the church. We didn't put the steps in, they were already there, but we did add the handrails as part of that same project, which is actually, again, very sturdy, very helpful to people trying to get out to that site. And then lastly, this is what we just got finished with. On the 9th, this is the second set of steps at Santiago Church. Show you a little bit of the forming with reinforcement on the left. And this goes to the lower part of Santiago Church on the right. Again, very helpful with being able to access that lower section, at least to get over that bank. It's funny how once you get on the bank, you're good. Just getting over the bank can be really treacherous for some people. So.
Over the funeral, bringing the guys.
Yes.
With
Huge. Trying to slip, especially if there's had any view on what the grass is bad. So extremely helpful in that regard. If there's no questions, I'll move to the summary. 243R branch, we actually started that in March. I'm showing February. That's basically when a lot of we held like the coordination meeting. But it's showing right now about 19% complete with the blocks laid on site about to be laid. We estimate it to be completed in September. 66, as we said, it began roughly April. We're showing about 5% complete. We're probably a little bit more than that. With them out, with them having all the belongings out, and with the schedule, and hopefully the hazmat schedule to be, we're looking at November, but I anticipate it probably would be sooner than that. But I wanted to put November out there, barring any kind of change. And that gives you some idea kind of what to plan towards. We'll be communicating. Yeah, we'll be communicating. Yeah. I know. May not want to see that, but we'll, like I said, they're really good once they get everything started. The weather obviously plays a huge role with any kind of construction project that you can get into the drive. So that's a big thing we're trying to push towards moving both projects. And then again, the cemetery project completed on the 9th. They really want to quick to get that done once we've got to go ahead to move forward with the project, getting the quotes, awarding it. It's just so people know that concrete is still, it fluctuates about 233 yards for our $233 a cubic yard. So that's a little high for what we've paid in the past. I don't know if that's ever going to change, to be quite frank, probably go up. But I've never seen a timeline where you have to schedule it out as long as we're having it. That's why you see some of these dates where you have to call it. It could be 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And then a lot of times what you do is you'll want an alternate date as well. That might be even, you can't get it the next day. You might have an alternate date 3 weeks later. So it's just really amazing at a time working with concrete. So I've never seen anything like that. I was hoping it would get better after COVID, but so far it's not. We're making it. We're definitely making it work. We're going to keep going forward.
I think that the last set of steps down in San Diego, I thought it was getting better. You remember that part?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen those and you get a chance, please drive down there.
And that's so true. The pictures don't really do justice as far as the size of them. I have several pictures to do that, and the strength of the handrails that we put on it. So,
That's a very large cemetery.
yeah,
I really didn't know last time
it is.
how large it was.
If there's no questions, that's all I have.
should have in front of you the finance points of discussion for our meeting today on May 20th, 2025. And this is for the period ending April 30th, 2025. So all of the data in this report is for the April 30th end date. And you have a copy in your packet of amendment number 13, which I need approval for tonight. The appropriation changes, finance needed funds and salaries and FICA, so through an interdepartmental transfer, and $25,647, and we moved that into salaries, and then $1,939 was moved into the FICA line. Election board needed funds and salaries and FICA as well, and we were able to do an interdepartmental transfer of $17,635 to salaries and $1,254 to FICA. Transit administration also needed funds and salaries and FICA, and we did an interdepartmental transfer from their operating reserve of $27,255. The health department needed funds redistributed amongst their employees, totaling $21,700. EMS needed funds in retirement, and we were able to do an interdepartmental transfer from the veteran body at $27,562. Urgent care maintenance fees line needed additional funds to complete this fiscal year, so we did an interdepartmental transfer from the veteran body at $9,153. Election board also needed funds in election expenses. We were able to do an interdepartmental transfer of $1,643. And grounds needed funds in equipment repairs and maintenance, and we were able to do an interdepartmental transfer from sanitation of $1,932. And then the senior center received $150 more than budgeted for their general purpose grant, so this expense line was updated accordingly, and that also is reflected on the revenue change. And you'll see right behind the copy of the amendment, I've got the calculation sheet for you, so you shouldn't have to do the math on your phones. You'll have it right there on that back sheet. So the amendment total, the appropriation debits was $135,720. The appropriation credits was $135,870. That's a difference of $150, which you'll see on the revenue side was added as a credit. I would need a motion to accept the amendment number 13. I'll make the motion to accept the amendment. And just to give you a brief update, our LGC update, I'm continuing to have monthly check-ins with Tim Green, who is our coach with LGC. We were able to submit a copy of the draft budget to him. He has reviewed it and looked over it. So just to give you a brief update there. We had our update with the auditors tonight, so I will go through that. And we will we'll be presenting that on the 3rd of June at that meeting. And we are simultaneously working on their requests and then updating everything for 23-24 to meet the status of the new request so that we can have everything in line with that to be submitted. Continue to work through that list. And just trying to work proactively so that we're audit ready in the current year. So that we're just continuing to call those things at the end of the month instead of having to do it all. So working more proactively. You do have a copy of the income statement in your packet for April. The income was $1,153,413.29. Year-to-date income is $18,694,263.94. Also in your packet, you have a copy of the expenditure statement. You also have it detailed out by department with the ideal percentage of expenditures versus their actual, the ones that were exceeding our ideal have been highlighted, and you can dive into that or ask questions in the meeting to that at your direction. And so our expenditures for April were $1,736,815.62. Year to date, $18,292,843.87. And moving on to our property tax collections, you do have a copy of the April report in the packet. Collections that were collected in April for the current year was $141,557.54. And then in April, they also collected for prior years past due taxes of $14,610.34. Our total collections for tax collections in 2024 was $8,920,650.30, and there's still a balance of $341,304.06 to be collected. So our collection percentage as of April is 96.31%. As far as sales tax collections, you have the March report attached in your packet. And March collections that were paid in May was $244,038.43. And that brings our year-to-date collections to $2,649,686.62. The school's allocation of the sales tax for March was $47,830. Their year-to-date is $549,539.49. And of this year's allocation, they have $103,633.20 available. As far as our quarter-cent allocation for public safety, as of March, we set aside $19,739.93. The total set asides to date since that went into place in April of 2019 is $1,643,192.77. And then the vehicle tax collections, you also have a copy of that report in your packet. March collections are paid in April, and we collected $70,126.49. And our year-to-date collections are $594,296.83. You have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So first, pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 159-11, it's my privilege to present to the board the fiscal year 25-26 budget ordinance. And since she was the primary architect behind the budget, I'll ask Ms. Stacy Carter to kind of do a budget overview.
All right, so you should have a copy of the draft in front of you. And so this is the 25-26 budget that Fenrich was submitted. So it's balanced in accordance with the local government budget and the Fiscal Control Act with a total revenue and expenditures of $25,453,201. And just a brief overview is the budget is passed on the departmental level and line item budgets are available for finance for the county manager's office for review. Actually, you have a copy of the line items in front of you. This is the final version, and I just wanted to make sure that you have that in your hands. The ad valorem tax rate of 59 cents per $100 at full valuation, and the revenue neutral 45.7 cents per $100 at full valuation are hereby established as the official tax rates for the county of Graham for the fiscal year 25-26. These rates were based on the total valuation of $1,529,581,326 at 97.19% collection rates. So the full 59 cents per $100 tax rate will be used to fund the general fund appropriations. And then this budget also includes our special revenue funds, the American Rescue Plan Act, National Opioid Development Fund, our representative payee funds, fines and forfeitures funds, revaluation funds, the 911 funds, or CDBG supplemental funds, capital projects fund, the SCIP courthouse fund, and the EDC Golden Lake Fund. Our total operating budget for 25-26 is $25,453,201. As far as any changes from the last budget meeting that we had, the only thing, after LGC reviewed our budget, we did let me know that we can use the collection rate of June 30 of the prior year, not necessarily the current, collection rate. So that did provide, some additional revenue that we weren't anticipating because our collection rate was higher at that time. So we did put that into a contingency fund. That way we could redistribute that as necessary.
Any questions on budget before we move on to the next?
So I want to say thank you to the board and also to the staff and Stacy. I know it wasn't easy, to be, with the budget. We were having to raise some taxes, but as a citizen, as, board member, I want to say thank you guys for that. We're gonna always try to continue to do that. There might be a point in our hands in time, but at this time, we're as far as, thank you guys.
Next item is to schedule a public hearing for the budget approval. Proposed date is the next board meeting, July 17th or June 17th, 5:30. That requires board actions.
I'll make that motion. Let's see. All in favor?
Next item is the annual adoption of the county pay plan. So before you have a proposed resolution and a copy of the 25-26 Graham County salary pay plan. It is identical for last year's pay plan, so no substantive change at all, but it's something we need to adopt on an annual basis. That's another item that will require board approval.
Okay.
Next item is the review of the 25-26 holiday schedule. That's also in your packet. That's an item that requires board action as well.
I'll make a motion to review this year holiday.
Second.
All in favor?
The next item is a request to surplus a 1987 Ford truck with fire truck. That is a fire truck that has been used by the Graham County Fire Department. That's currently idle in Graham County's name. A copy of the title is included in your packet. So what we're going to do here is just follow the procedure for surplus and vehicles. If the board would like to surplus, we follow the procedure. And then the next item is if the board so chooses, designate the proceeds from that sale back to the Graham County Fire Department, just to kind of keep the books clean for all purposes. So the first decision would be whether the board would like to surplus that.
I'll make a motion to surplus. I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
And I'll make a motion to, donate the funds to.
All.
Our proposed action for that surplus would be a sealed bid procedure. I think that's what has happened with the prior surpluses, with bids to be open at, if the board would designate a bidder, such as myself, to be at the Graham County Fire meeting on June 9th. They've already advertised that is where they're accepting bids or have advertised for sealed bids. So that will allow the board for us to collect any bids that were submitted. We'll run our own ad just to make sure that we follow all appropriate procedures. So June 9th at 7 p.m. would be the due date with the results then presented to the board at the June 17th meeting. I'm happy to attend.
Need a motion,
Please, if the board action.
Make a motion for that. Any representative second?
Second. All in favor?
Next item is the request from USDA for action on whether to enroll in the Beaver Management Assistance Program. I think this is an annual request where it provides some beaver damage mitigation services to citizens. through this program. It's a $6,000 fee to enroll annually. I don't think it's something the board has done previously, but it's something that I wanted to bring to your attention. They asked for a no or a yes answer, essentially. So happy to provide the answer the board would like.
I know you have
Please,
So,
yeah.
I like the version that means what there is.
In the past, there were some commissioners that should, but they didn't understand this.
Next item is our releases, the amount of $1,321.09 and discoveries, the amount of $1,778.32 that Ray Thomas provided in his packet as well.
I should do the prayer.
Next item, the sanitation updates. Project Manager Marino has already given a good update on the development since the prior meeting. Upper good positive feedback with the repair work that was done. It is definitely a short-term solution, so I think there are definitely ongoing discussions about how to resolve that long-term. One proposal that we have from department head from Gavin is potential sanitation fee increase on the commercial pickup services to help the sanitation department be a little more self-sustaining when it comes to needing these repairs and be able to fund them through their own collection fees. So that proposed fee schedule, or there are two different proposals, is in your package. It's either in your packet or a separate page in front of you. It should just look like a page. And if it's not there up top, just here, what's going to here. Let me just pass this out before. So at the top, you can see our original, current fee schedule. There's the proposal number 1, which is a change in the in-town fee from $40 per can to $50, and the out-of-town from $65 to $75. You can see that is $18,720 in additional revenue per year. Proposal 2 is changing in-town from 40 to 60 and out-of-town from 65 to 85, and that's a $37,440 gain. So like I said, the intent there is to use those funds to make improvements within the sanitation department. There were both short-term and long-term projects that will need those funds. So that is provided to the board if they would like to take action. If you would like to take action, that's just a request from the sanitation department.
So we would need to pick which, if we did agree to increase, we have to pick proposal 1.
Correct. Those would be two independent proposals.
We will have a recommendation. One other than just looking at.
My recommendation is proposal 2. It's a moderate increase on the user, but it provides a pretty substantial benefit to the county, and it won't be. This is something that all citizens of Crown County, commercial resident, everyone uses our sanitation services, and it will provide a much more reliable, safer, just better overall experience for it. Yeah, and it is cheaper than any of the surrounding counties and vendors. So I mean, it is still it's still provided at a reasonable rate as well.
I'll make a motion to accept section C, proposal 2.
I'll second the motion.
Next item is the transit and senior center conflict of interest. form. It just needs to be approved and signed by the board. It's this form that is in front of you with the blue line.
That's
Each
just
board
the same thing they do. That's
member.
not here.
Yeah, correct. Each board member needs to sign the picture.
The grants, it's the incoming grants, so we're always in your ad on applying for the incoming grants. Yeah.
So please. The next item is a request, so with the Heritage Festival, for the use of the pool for the Friday and Saturday of the 4th, to waive the fees for use those 2 days. Next item is there was a 2004 truck advertisement for sealed bids, so we have a single bid that was submitted for that truck.
Well, we went back and forth with the minimum price, but we received no bid, so we just left it as is for somebody to put in a bid.
Next item is a proposed letter. So Josh Carpenter reached out earlier today and provided a proposed letter that he's asking the board to consider to support some funds that the Mountain West Partnership is requesting for economic development in the community. So he's asked, I think the deadline is this Friday. So if the board would like to review and determine whether
Your contact with Southwestern positions. And regarding non-compliant. And as you said,
I think these are funds, additional funds that the Mountain West Partnership is requesting, and I think the intent is for it will benefit all members of the region. So it would just be based on proposed projects in the areas. He did not provide that information. He just said they're receiving funds.
So, that's.
Like this and stuff.
Sure.
Okay. I know not much partnership, and it's a good organization. It does serve all 7 Western counties. The contract that we have with the Southwestern Commission does fall under the heading of the Southwestern Partnership. It's been in place now probably for 8 or 9 years. When this work came in being and started doing computer courses for small businesses and that nature of things in Western counties. That's the most experience that I have actually had with them. I know they were very active along with they didn't have any name partnership at the time, but we're very active with Andy Cable when he was getting funding for the Where Live Honey business in our county, and they were very strong players in getting that done and learning the building and the business to begin.
So I know that we've had discussions recently about the funding for the economic development at Southwestern Mission Rose. We were just now trying to get those funding situations straightened out.
Yes.
And so, not even, just because we have those local businesses that are kind of, waiting on those funds, I don't know that we're gonna be able to help them.
I think discussion and maybe sit down with Josh and that's on something like this. I would have a better understanding. Myself. Man, what are your thoughts?
I think the same thing because I mean, it's further efficient. It's not just involved with having businesses and one of the things that he thrives on is creating the additional workforce to our small businesses. So it's a first.
Yeah, we need to prioritize this one's experience.
And to provide just a little more context in his email, he said that the goal, so they were seeking, it's from the Appalachian Regional Commission. They are seeking to support business and industry investment sites. It's not as specifically stated in the letter, but we provide a little more context. The goal is to use these funds to begin planning for infrastructure improvements, to identify projects for infrastructure improvements. So just to provide, but he did not provide any sort of amount requested funds. So.
I did have the opportunity to meet them last Wednesday, and once again, this static project is in a very positive atmosphere.
So maybe it would be best, I understand how much, but would it be best to charge them the same just because we, where we don't have a ton of them. But we can see what we can do if we find more information.
And ARC actually is an entity that funded us and our highway system, of which we are now seeing some end results of the mountain. Okay, so we are still a little bit of a missing link, and you might get to visit with us a few minutes on the mountain. We hope to look around and see something pretty fabulous, and when they get it finished, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Once you come back then, you're on the evenings, okay. And Bill travels their way every day. But that's what ARC is, Appalachian Regional Commission.
Next is the workers' compensation and liability insurance discussion alternatives.
Madam Chair, recently, we did not propose to take quotes this year, but I was approached by a local business, so I did give them a deadline of Monday afternoon, have the quotes back. They did not give me quotes back for, liability and property. I did receive one back for workers' comp. When it came in, their quote came in at $118,414, and our current coverage with NCACC is coming in at $109,307. So it's my recommendation to stay with the NCACC on our liability, property, and workers' comp at this time. I thought the motion, because
I will make a motion that we continue. Coverage with NCACC.
Oh,
What is it that you want?
with one of the,
Yeah.
it was Cody Jenkins with High Street Insurance and Financial Services. I did due diligence stuff, yeah, because he is local and he did ask.
Madam Chair, that's all.
Anyone would like to speak with public comment?
I got a comment, right?
Okay.
But this new road takes at least 2 or 3 more years before you see it. You talk to me about who would invest money in business or hospital, because everybody on that side of the mountain is going to buy the city. Everybody. That's a true fact. And people from this side of the county are going to buy the city.
Okay, I can give you just a little bit of history on that bill. Back in 1965, the money was appropriated by ARC to build the missing length of corridor. Yes, I'm at all. I really am. Okay. All right. We, every single time that there has been movement to build a road, since that time, we have had to fight environmentalists on every single level. There have been at least $73 million that I'm aware of that have been spent in those court cases and actions. It is a fact that I-26 had their eye on every penny of the money that was left to be spent in Graham County. And had it not been that we got a road commissioner in our county, we would be undergoing this construction on I-26, not Graham County. I hope that helps.
Okay. I just feel sorry for the businesses in Graham County right now.
And I don't know, I remember when the road that was there now, before the construction started, was being built, there was absolutely no passage at all across that mountain. And they have been able to keep through traffic moving at some pace, which I'm very grateful for. That road was being built during the time that the 1974 tornado struck Sequoia and took the lives of 2 of our citizens there. And my family and I were coming back from Sylvan, North Carolina, through Topton to through the gorge, and we had no idea in the world why every ambulance, I had never seen so many ambulances on the highway. We were meeting them going towards Sylvan. And when then I got home to learn that we had fatalities, not only here, but also in Cherokee and Clay counties. And it had been a horrendous event. And that road was totally closed, or there's a good possibility that there would have been more killed, there would have been more people on that road. I'm not saying that's an upside, but it could be, because I was one of the ones that was on the road that night. So, and those are facts. Oh, it is, so.
D. Cook's wife was one of those people that was killed
Pardon?
D. Cooks,
They could for
and his wife was Martha.
Tom Jenkins, but the other one.
Thank you, public, for coming. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks. And I don't believe I got to meet.
Well, thank you, Bill, for attending, Loretta. And thanks for asking the question, Bill. I'm sure a lot of people have that question, so. I hope you'll share that information with
That's right.
But the good thing about going home this time of day, you won't have to sit in the traffic, but any other time of day, 40 minutes.
Absolutely. It was 45 for me today going down there.
It seems I always pull up on it right after it's closing, and then.
Really?
It's like, oh, man.